Okay, so this is part 3 of Supernatural Foes. And if you haven't watched part 1 or part 2, I recommend you do that because it will give this some context and one follows after the other. So we're looking at signs and symptoms. In short, how do you know if you've got demons? Now, Steve Bancarz, he was a meditation and lucid dreaming expert in the spiritual world. Was very popular and did a lot of work, but he describes a very nasty demonic encounter that he had, which I'll describe later. But he says demonic possession, once inside your body, doesn't mean you're going to speak in a demonic voice or go insane. The demon gets woven into some level of your flesh or mind. Your eyes become their eyes. And from this place, it influences your thoughts, predisposition, and behaviors, which is quite concerning, of course. So how do you know if that's the case, what might be the signs and symptoms? So these are some of the unpleasant symptoms. Now, of course, there might be other things causing these than, especially when we go down the list, than a demonic entity. However, people who've had these have reported these symptoms as part of the way the entity manifests, attacks, influences. Okay, so unpleasant symptoms. You might just sense a presence. You might sense something around you or inside you or in your space. Poltergeist activity happening in your environment. Seeing something, especially at night, if you see little orbs, it's unlikely to be fairies or angels. However, like I said, it's one of the possibilities. Sleep paralysis has been reported by multiple people about as a way that the demons attack you. A sensation of pressure on your chest or your bodies, a sensation of sort of suction coming. That can be on your mouth or it could be anywhere in your body. A sensation of not being alone in your body. Spontaneous, unplanned for, unwanted astral projection, so just like popping out of your body. And sometimes you can feel like you've been pulled out of your body. Night terrors and nightmares. Really bad critical thoughts, negative suicidal thoughts. Again, there can be other causes, but this is one of the things they can do. They can send them to us. Runs of bad luck. A friend of mine told me when I was talking to her about this, she told me that she once had a voice in her head which said to her, it would just like you to fall over. And then a couple of minutes later, she went on an escalator, fell and broke her ankle. So, she's sure that there was kind of some entity around her. And anxiety and depression, they can send us these kind of like packets of feelings. Paranoia, they can be the underlying cause of certain chronic illnesses, from anything from arthritis to ME. It doesn't mean to say that is the underlying cause. I'm just saying that it's one of the possibilities. And they can also be the driver behind addiction to drugs, drink, food, anything really. And then the other thing is, well, we'll talk about it in the next section, but portal addictions, then if we are in an altered state because we've taken something addictively, that can then also open a portal and allow them in. So then there's apparently positive symptoms as well. So they, as well as sending you negative thoughts, they can send you positive thoughts. And this is what happened to me. So they can say, oh, you know, you can do it. You should step up. You know, it's your time. You need to get out there, get this message out there. Or, you know, like I said, I set up a specific type of religious type, spiritual type training. And yeah, so they can do this, and they can often, it's often things that sort of do play to your pride as well, that make you, you know, you're the person to do this. You can feel feelings of arousal, especially in your sleep. Those kind of intimate encounters in the astral. There's a lot of reports of this, people having these intimate encounters. Spirit guides. You might have a spirit guide that works with you, a guardian angel that works with you, an ascended master that works with you, angels that work with you. You might see them in the astral realm. They might be seeming to give you guidance, wisdom. They may be helping you with your life, and they may actually be giving you some helpful advice as well. But that is one of the ways that these shapeshifters can appear, and they gain your trust, and they can be really lovely to you, and they're helping. However, there's always a cost, and as long as you're doing something to help with whatever their agenda is, they will continue to appear good. You might get a sudden download of like an idea, or a whole, something just comes to you, I don't know, like a song, or a meditation, or that you've got to run, or an idea for a business, or it can be, again, not always, but they can send like a whole packet download of thoughts, and you can feel, and they can send feelings of enthusiasm and excitement to start it up, but that can come from them. You can feel this sort of sense of compulsion to do something you wouldn't normally do, but suddenly it looks like fun. So maybe it's hitting the absinthe, or taking some kind of drug, or playing with a Ouija board, or practicing the tarot or an oracle. It's the classic devil on my shoulder syndrome, and that can literally be true. It can also manifest in the form of an overwhelming attraction for somebody, a lust for somebody, a spark. It can feel really amazing and exciting, like this person seems like a twin flame, or type mystical type exciting feeling for somebody. And when you get involved with them, it then turns out to be just such a damaging relationship. But often then you know this overwhelming attraction and way of seeing that person it just fills your mind, and you can't get out of it. Or it can be lust or attraction for somebody outside of your own relationship, and it can feel like overwhelming, and this real sense of I need to be with that person. And it can be, you know, this may not be a problem in you, it could be coming from outside, from an entity. So the psychotherapist I talked about in an earlier part, he said that these things plant negative thoughts around us all the time. So it's like they're flying around in the ether all the time. And he said they send these negative thoughts and pass themselves off as the thoughts of the person having them. Now, he says that once they get inside, so that, there's two levels to this. Well, there's more than that, but to keep it simple, they could be sending thoughts in the ether that can come into us all the time, but they can also then get inside somebody in a possession type scenario. And once they're in, he says they have complete access to your memory. I mean, I don't know about that. This is his theory. They do seem to know a lot about us because they can see us and they watch us, and they might have been watching you all your life. So I don't know, but they seem to have access to your memory. They gaslight you. They foster self-destructive practices, and they want you to be alone. So they push you to reject others. They can manipulate your perception of the world. Again, their thoughts, they send you, pass them off as your own. And he said that 80 to 90% of what these voices tell you are lies. They can influence feelings and intuition. So Laura Maxwell, she was an ex-spiritualist medium, second generation medium. Her mother was as well. And they were in a spiritualist church, and they had been, talking to the spirits of the dead for years, passing on messages to people. And she said they were good for a long time. And then she said the spirits just turned nasty on them. They started getting really extreme poltergeist activity in their house. They were both suffering with sleep paralysis a lot. And then what Laura started to experience was waking sleep paralysis. So she'd be sitting in her chair, and then suddenly, just in the daylight during the day, and then suddenly she couldn't move. She just completely frozen. And she said that was really frightening. Okay, so I'm going to call this. So Carolyn Hamlet, she's an ex-astral traveler, and she worked for a secret club, a society. I'm not going to say the name because of, from what I gathered, you can get your videos deleted or whatever if you say the name. Anyway, so she worked for this secret club, and she became a highly trained, evolved astral traveler. And she says that the air around us is just filled with entities. And she said, once you're astral traveling, so astral traveling is you're out of your body. She said, what these entities do is they can see you, and they attach a cord to you, like this energetic cord, which means they gain access to you. And she said, then when you meet them in the astral realm, she said they appear as a spirit guide or an ascended master. And she said they lie. They tell you you're becoming more enlightened. And she said they make us think that they're here to help us. She describes them, though, as pirates and parasites. She said they influence and steer the person that's connecting with them to go and do what they want you to do. And then they use that person to influence the people around them, their friends, their family, their work. And she says that once this spiritual cord that they send is attached to you, then they're able to transfer some kind of spiritual energy that affects the brain's neurotransmitters. And she said it artificially and mentally affects the brain state. She said they're also able to release an opiate to feel good and positive about the things they want you to. She says that they get assigned to you from birth. So you think you might have an angel or an ascended master with you, a spirit guide or a guardian angel, but it's a demon that's been assigned to you from birth. And she says, if you're moving off course, it will send you an uncomfortable feeling. And she said they will also send you feelings of repulsion to the things that they feel repulsed to put you off them, really. And she says in the short term, she said people are being demonized without realizing it. And in the long term, she said it really does affect the endocrine system and can cause mental and physical illness. I'll just end with a quote from spiritualexperience.eu. They say, when spirit is traveling, your body remains vulnerable. It is an empty vessel for demons and other beings. So we're going to stop there. And in the next part, we're going to be looking at portals and open doors. So how are we letting these things in?